Praise God. Today we are in Psalm, or no, I'm sorry. Just finished Psalms, or where we were. We just read Psalm 33. We're now in Matthew 23. But Psalm 33 there. Our soul waiteth for the Lord. He is our help and our shield. For our heart shall rejoice in him, because we have trusted in his holy name. Let thy mercy, O Lord, be upon us, according as we hope in thee. And it's just that's what I'm clinging to lately. Really, these three Psalms that I read, 31, 32, and 33, are all kind of in the same area of hoping and waiting on him. I get depressed a lot lately over something that I shouldn't be depressed about, and not good. But we have to cling to our hope in him, and that's it. Once you start dwelling on other stuff, it can really go down the rabbit hole or whatever. It can get pretty negative. It's not of use to us, right? Anyway, we're in Matthew 23 today. Last time the first and great commandment: thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Well, I was listening to the radio as I came here this morning, and they were talking about how like 70% of Americans will suffer from depression in their lifetime or something like 70% of Americans have some kind of mental illness, and I think this has to do with it. I think it's a rejection of God, and it's also intentional how Satan has attacked us. If we followed those two greatest commandments, wouldn't my job be easy? Wouldn't customer service be so simple then, you know? Wouldn't life be so much easier if we approached everyone with love? Love thy neighbor as thyself. It's hard sometimes to do that when you have some nasty woman threatening your coworker's life. She's this beautiful, perfect little girl. You know, it's hard to love that person. But that's the kind of thing you're dealing with. People threatening your life. It's amazing. It's amazing she still hangs on. I don't get it. But if we followed those, wouldn't this world be a lot easier to live in? You know, and a lot simpler. And but we don't, you know. Even Christians find it difficult sometimes to do that, you know, and I'm guilty of being judgmental and mean sometimes, you know. Am I showing a lot of love here, or am I being hypocritical and mean? And I try to love everybody, but sometimes it's like I said, it's hard when you see people threatening other people. But that's the thing. We're not all approaching life in the same way. We're approaching it from greed or lust or um, whatever other reason, and it's not good. Anyway, that was one of the last sections we dealt with last time in 22. So now we're looking at 23. I haven't even had my breakfast yet today. I wonder if that's going to affect me. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll be even worse today. The titles that religious hypocrites adapt to get you to respect them. Mark 12:38 through 40, Mark 20:45 through 47. That's what he titles. He titles this whole thing here, religious hypocrites. Different types of religious hypocrites. Well, in the previous chapter, you ended with love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy might, and then love thy neighbor as thyself. So if you're a religious hypocrite, you forget those probably. Let's see what they say and how the argument goes. So we're going to read chapter 23 of Matthew, verse 1. Then spake Jesus to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, The scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore, whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. But do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. For they say and do not. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries, and enlarge the borders of their garments, and love the uppermost rooms at feasts, and the chief seats in the synagogues, and greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi. But be not ye called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren. And call no man your father. Upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. Neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Christ. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. What an example he sets. And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. Wow. 13. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer. Therefore ye shall receive the greater damnation. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye compass sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he is made, ye make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves. Woe unto you, ye blind guides, which say, Whosoever shall swear by the temple, it is nothing, but whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple, he is a debtor. Ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctifieth the gold? And whosoever shall swear by the altar, it is nothing, but whosoever sweareth by the gift that is upon it, he is guilty. Ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gift or the altar that sanctifieth the gift? Whoso therefore shall swear by the altar sweareth by it, and by all things thereon. And whoso shall swear by the temple sweareth by it, and by him that dwelleth therein. And he that shall swear by heaven sweareth by the throne of God, and by him that sitteth thereon. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye pay tithe of mint, and anise, and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye to have, and not to leave the other undone. Ye blind guides, which straineth at a gnat, and swallow a camel, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup. Yeah, that 24 there, man, that's a big one. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. Thou blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones, and of all uncleanness. Even so ye also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because ye build the tombs of the prophets, and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous, and say, If we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Wherefore ye be witnesses unto yourselves, that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets. Fill ye up then the measure of your fathers, ye serpents, ye generation of vipers, how can ye escape the damnation of hell? Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets, and wise men, and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify, and some of them shall ye scourge in your synagogues, and persecute them from city to city, that upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel unto the blood of Zacharias, son of Barachias, whom ye slew between the temple and the altar. Verily I say unto you, all these things shall come upon this generation. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets, and stonest them which are sent unto thee, how often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathereth her chicken under her wings, and ye would not. Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. For I say unto you, ye shall not see me henceforth, till ye shall say, Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. Amen. They just passed a law in the House talking about how I'm not allowed to say that Jesus crucified, or I'm sorry, the Jews crucified Jesus, which is a historical fact. But the Romans crucified him, but the Jews had a hand in getting him there, right? But anyway, everything I'm saying might be thrown out the window. But I've said before, and see, that's why it's so unfair, this law that was passed. Shouldn't it be up to interpretation of the person listening to it? I think about think about everything he said here. He pretty much laid it out exactly what the problem is, and but I'm supposed to ignore that. Isn't that crazy? But anyway, I think about the crowd usually, and how I was one of the people in the crowd yelling, "Crucify him!" If you think about it deep down, we all are responsible for his death, for his crucifixion, but certainly you don't want to ignore, the historical facts about it, But ultimately, he died to save all of us, Jew and Gentile. So there really shouldn't be any offense in me saying a historical fact, you know what I mean? And all this pretty much lays out the same hypocrisy even today. You can think about this, and you want to be careful of this, I can fall into this category pretty quick if I were to judge my friend about a certain sin, and then I have the same sin or worse or a different sin. We're all biologically a little different. My sin might have nothing to do with your sin based on my history and based on where I come from and what I've dealt with in my lifetime, how I was raised. So how aren't I being a hypocrite to judge you for a completely different sin that you might have? But they wear the long robes. Their presentation is such that it's so immaculate on the outside, but then on the inside, they're ravening wolves. Doesn't it say that? They're evil on the inside. But yet they'll spend all this time judging a person for some sin when their sin is 10 times worse. So you have to be careful. There's a lot of responsibility with running a church or presenting the Bible. I recognize I'm a hypocrite sometimes with some of the stuff I said. Like last week, I was thinking about it more. I didn't like what I said. But yet, I'm sure I'll get some unsubscribes with what I said. And now I think about it more. I'm like, yeah, that was kind of stupid what I said. But it makes you think, though, at the same time. I wish everybody would approach it from the previous chapter, loving your neighbor and worshiping God. If we all started from that perspective, there probably wouldn't be any religious hypocrisy, right? It probably wouldn't be, because we'd all have the same opening gambit about it. We'd all think about it from the correct starting point instead of a starting point of judgment or hate or arrogance, or religious platitudes. We'd all be approaching it from the starting point of loving God and loving our neighbor. Then there wouldn't be any stupidity, there wouldn't be any mistakes. But unfortunately, that's how it goes. I said to my coworker not that long ago how leaven has crept into every religious institution and there's some kind of corruption going on. And something that Dr. Ruckman said in a video recently, I think it was his video talking about the different Bible versions. He was saying, historically speaking, every dispensation ends in apostasy. And that's the kind of leavening that is going on, the corruption, if I were to become some religious leader for some religious institution, some big building or big, I would probably be a part of that leavening process. I would just be reiterating, like, see, I'm just coming up with all these examples and I'm just going further and further. The point is, as he's saying in this chapter is about religious hypocrisy and how we think about things wrong. I think I have said that already. That previous chapter, the greatest commandment, love God, love your neighbor. If we approached it from that starting point, we wouldn't have any of these problems. But you have an institution in place that isn't really serving God and isn't serving the people and isn't loving the people. It's interested in money and power. It's interested in maintaining what it has rather than finding the truth and seeking the truth and loving each individual person. That's the whole problem. Anyway, I'm gonna go warm up my coffee and we'll start looking at these notes. There's a lot here, a lot to talk about. Um, Probably will take me 2 videos to go through this. And 24. Let's look at 24 really quick. Wow. 24 is even... All right, let's stop here. Thank you for listening. Have a blessed day.